If you're currently in the market for a new 6x9 for your motorcycle and you're looking for what might be the baddest 6x9 on the market, then you definitely want to watch this video and check out Cicada Audio's new CHX69 speaker. This video is going to be a review with a little bit of a comparison of Cicada Audio's CHX speaker, which is what I have here, and the CH69 over there, to give you a better understanding of what to expect out of this speaker and the similarities yet differences between the CH69 and the CHX69 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go over, I'm going to give you the details of both speakers together so that way this video doesn't get too long or too crazy. Just give you the details between the both, and then I'm going to really harp on the application for this speaker and where these two speakers shine in their own realm and how they may look similar, but they are very different speakers. All right, so let's talk the differences and similarities between the two speakers. So these two speakers, the CH, which is to your left, my right hand, is going to retail for $579.99, whereas the CHX is going to retail for $799.99. A good size price difference because there is a lot of stuff that they added to the CHX to make it different from the CHs. Both of these speakers are going to be offered in either 2 or 4 ohm versions, and what I want to specify there is the 2 and 4 ohm is going to be the mid ohm rating. So just the cone in the middle. The tweeters on both of these are going to remain 8 ohm tweeters. Both of these speakers can be wired either active or passive. So what I mean by that is if you ran them passive, you would use their included crossover to connect the mid and the tweeter in series with each other to run it on the same channel. If you run it active or bi-amp, you would run the mid on both of these to one channel of your amplifier and the tweeter separately. That allows you to tune the mid and the tweeter independently of each other and give you a little bit more flexibility there. Now what we're going to get into is the differences between the two, because there are a lot of differences in these. The first difference is going to be the sensitivity of the speakers. The CH speaker has an average sensitivity of 99 dB, whereas the CHX has an average of 92 dB. A lot of y'all might be saying, well, 7 dB, is it really that big of a difference? I can tell you under the same amount of power, it makes a huge difference. And we're going to get into details of why there is such a difference, but I don't want to jump there just yet. Power handling in both these speakers is drastically different. The CH is rated for 250 watts RMS to 500 max per speaker, whereas the CHX is 400 watt RMS, 800 max. Substantial difference. And the reasoning for that is the voice coils that they used on these speakers. They upgraded substantially from the CH to the CHX, which is why the power rating is larger, and that's why the sensitivity difference is so drastic. CH here has a 2-inch mid voice coil, whereas the CHX has a 2.5-inch voice coil. That makes a big difference. And then when you go from the tweeters, you're talking on the CH a 1.4-inch voice coil on the tweeter to the CHX has a 1.75-inch voice coil. Just that little bit of a difference of a 1/2 inch to about 3/8 of an inch difference is substantial. That's what's going to give it the difference in sensitivity and power handling between these two speakers. Next thing I want to touch base on is Cicada listened to the market and made the CHX a more water repellent or waterproof version of the CH. One thing that we noticed about the CH, especially putting it in lids, is as you can see, the compression horn is wide open and then there's no boot between the base of the tweeter and the mid here. So on the CHX, they corrected that. But let's touch base on what the construction material this is before going over to that. This right here, the cone of the mid, is going to be a treated paper pressed cone, treated cloth surround here. So that's what's gonna make up the cone and the surround on this speaker. On the CHX, they went a step or two above on this speaker to make it handle the elements, handle the UV, and make sure it lasts and can take the power. The material here, I'm gonna read off theirs, is a carbon matrix composite cone with the same treated cloth surround. And then they took a step farther and they put this nano barrier on the tweeter. And behind it, you really can't see it, but they have like a plastic mesh grill on the backside for this to rest against. And they also adhered like a rubber boot surround around the tweeter to the cone to help prevent water from getting in and leaking into your saddlebag. So that's one big thing that's gonna make the speaker stick out, is that it's gonna handle the elements, it's gonna hold up and help prevent water from getting inside your saddlebags, especially on the Harleys. This is gonna be huge. Frequency response is also very different on both of these speakers. And I'm gonna preface this now before I even get into it. Just because the manufacturer gives you a frequency response, that is not their recommendation of, hey, set a high pass at our lowest frequency and just run it. No, this is like the perfect scenario where they put these in like the perfect room and conditions and they play them. This is what the speaker will naturally play down to or up to. So when I go over these, please do not use these as crossover recommendations. CH69 is going to have a frequency response of 65 Hertz up to 20,000 Hertz. CHX has a frequency response of 46 Hertz all the way up to 20,000 Hertz. To help protect the speakers, Cicada includes the same basic crossover for both, which is going to be this 12 dB crossover. This is in all the CHs and the CHXs. But Cicada took it a step further with the CHXs, and I'm so glad they did. I hope this transfers over to CHs. Because when you order a CH, you get the same crossover, but you get this resistor. So this resistor is essentially a tweeter attenuator. It helps bring the tweeter down. I don't know the exact value of this. We'll do a further test on the CHs and see if we can put it on the RTA and see exactly what this will attenuate the tweeter down to. But on the CHX, because we're gonna be running so much more power to it, I love that they added this because you can see it's got this little male connector here. So when you get their crossovers, you got the two spades, which on the Harleys, you should be able to plug this in. What we do is we cut them off, solder them in, and this right here will go to your mid. You can see it's not in the crossover, just goes directly there. But the crossover is here for the tweeter. So as you can see, there is this quick disconnect right here. You just pull it out, gives you a female end. So this option right here will give you no attenuation on the tweeter. So say if you wanted to run this on your own amplifier, you bi-amped it, you can still use the crossover to help protect the tweeter, but then you can attenuate it down in the DSP. Or you take that off, you can plug their attenuator on, and then on these leads, you have two separate ones. One's a -3 and one's a -6 dB attenuator. So you can plug one or the other into your speaker to get that value of -3 or -6. How they're doing that is they have two resistors here. I'm guessing it's -3 for both on the values. So one is just using this, and then the -6 is using both of them in series to give you that -6 dB. In a second, you'll see we tested this on our RTA to show you just how that attenuator works. When we did our CHX8 video, these attenuators worked. You could see on the RTA that it dropped, boom, 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 according to the attenuator. It's a great feature to have because it helps you attenuate that tweeter down ahead of time, and then you can use the DSP to fine tune it from there. So the last thing I want to talk about is the mounting of these speakers are going to be the same for the 6x9 portion of it. They sit right on here. There's a minimal fractional difference between the two, like, I don't even know, not even maybe a 1/16 of an inch, if that. The CHX, slightly smaller, but is the mounting depth itself. Cicada Audio claims that the CH69 has a mounting depth of 3.6 inches, whereas the CHX has a mounting depth of 3 3/4. But as I'm sitting them here next to each other on the desk as level as I can, side by side, it looks like The CH is marginally higher, but they look almost about the same mounting depth. Where this is gonna make a difference is when how you're mounting them in. So if you were putting the flange on the back side, it looks like the CHX might be, and I'm talking like a 1/16 of an inch. But if you're surface mounting them, like in the lids, it's gonna make a huge difference because the 6x9 bolts, the flange bolts to it this way. So I'm curious if Cicada took that into consideration. That's where they're giving you your mounting depth, because in that would make up about that 1/4 inch right there alone. Well, it's just under a 1/4 inch. That would be about your 1/8 inch gap difference, which is roughly 0.15. 0.125 is an 1/8 inch, so it's just over an 1/8 inch. So if you're surface mounting these in like the lid cutting kit, that's where that mounting depth is gonna change. I wanna discuss the applications for these 6x9s, because I know the question gets asked all the time. Well, what's the best 6x9 on the market? What's the best this speaker, that speaker, amplifier equipment? These are such loaded questions, and me personally, I dislike them because when it comes to what is the best speaker, it is solely application based. That being said, both of these speakers shine in their own areas. If you're looking for a speaker, say you have your Harley and you're trying to do the fairing and the lids and you only have an 800.4, 110% I'm gonna push you towards the CH, because the CHX does not do well on that low of power. That's where that sensitivity difference is gonna come into play. With a 99 dB average sensitivity, in that area, the CH thrives because the CH line does not take a lot of power to be loud and bright. But if you're gonna go in that same realm, but say you've got an 804 for your fairing, but you're bridging another amp for the lids, I would push you maybe towards the CHXs, because that's where they're gonna start thriving. The CHX is really gonna thrive between that 400 to 600 watt range. Now, as you get higher up in power, please understand that the more power you push, you have to bring your crossovers up as well. So it grows together. So if you're running less power, you can thrive in that little bit lower end, but as you bring the power up, you have to bring that crossover up, because you're not gonna be able to run these speakers 800 watts at 100 hertz. Like, that's just way too much power for speakers. So please understand that when it comes to these speakers, there are applications where each of them will thrive. The biggest thing I want to harp on again with the CHX is they love power. So as you push more power to them, they're going to thrive. They're going to be louder in that respect, and they will just handle it a lot better. And that comes down to the construction of the speaker. You get that much bigger of a voice coil for the tweeter in the mid, sensitivity goes down, requires more power. So please just understand that you have to size these speakers, select them for your application specifically to make sure that you get the absolute most out of them for your application. I want to show you the tests that we did on these. These tests were with the CHX in the lid of our shop Harley, which we have bridged on an 800.4. We set it at 100 hertz high pass, 24 dB, which is what I'm pretty sure that Cicada references to. So we did this test with no attenuator, -3 and -6. We show it to you on the RTA, what it actually does, the spectrum of where it plays, and then we set our crossover and play some music for you. So we have the Cicada Audio CHX69.4s. These are the 4 ohm version of their new carbon fiber coax horn speakers. And what we're doing is we have it set up on our shop bike here. This is our Harley. We have them in the lids currently. And what we're doing here is we have them in here with the crossovers, and we have them on an 800.4 bridged in the lids. We wanted to give them a good amount of power, which is right about at their RMS. And then we have our DMRTA here with our laptop. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play this a couple of different ways for you. We're gonna play it with no tweeter attenuator at all, show you what it looks like on the RTA. We'll do it with the -3, then the -6, and then we'll play some music as well with all 3 of those to see if you can pick up through the phone any audio difference between them. I don't know as if you really will over the phone, but we're gonna do our absolute best to show you these real world numbers and applications here to help you make the decision if these are the speakers for you.
Down on my luck, I was stuck, I was running around broken hearted. I was sinking so fast, I couldn't last, falling apart. And you could've run away, leaving me there in my shame, leaving me fighting my pain, but you made a better way. I was down on my luck, I was stuck, I was running around broken hearted. I was sinking so fast, I couldn't last, falling apart. And you could've run away, leaving me there in my shame, leaving me fighting my pain, but you made a better way. I've been saved. I was down on my luck, I was stuck, I was running around broken hearted. I was sinking so fast, I couldn't last, falling apart. And you could've run away, leaving me there in my shame, leaving me fighting my pain, but you made a better way. I've been saved.
And that's the test that we did for these 6x9s to show you on the meter, one, what the speaker will play, how the tweeter attenuator works, the no attenuator, -3 and -6, and just to give you a little clip of how these speakers sound. I love the way these speakers sound. I would love to see them being pushed on a little bit more power, which we may do in a future video. We'll get a different amplifier, push more power to them, and see how well they come to life for this application and really give you guys that full experience of it. Again, I just want to harp on Cicada, why these speakers may look alike. There is a lot of differences. Cicada went back to the drawing board and really put a lot of time, work, and effort in this new speaker because this is going to put their speaker just one step up. I think this is really going to put them up with the Bemas and the Euphorias in the market because that's an area that they were needing to hit. And also they took the time to do that water repellent, waterproofing to the speakers. So that way, one, they last up and help keep the elements out of your saddlebags, which has been an issue in the past. And again, I'm not here to tell you which speaker's better. 100% down to application specific. So if you have any more questions about these speakers, please feel free to get a hold of us. We'll do our best to answer any and all questions that you may have about these two speakers and for your application, which one might be the better choice. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was informative. If you have any questions, get a hold of us or drop a comment below. We would love to see what your feedback is. And with that, I'm wrapping this video up. I'm Brandon with Davidson Audio, located here in beautiful Panama City, Florida.